If you think you need thousands of dollars to build a home studio, I've got some good news. You don't. In fact, I'm about to show you exactly how to put together a fully functional home studio for under $300 without cutting corners on quality. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. $300? That's impossible. But stick with me and I'll show you where most people waste money and how to get pro-level sound on a budget, no gimmicks, no fluff. By the way, if you're serious about making music at home, consider subscribing because I've got a ton of tips on recording, mixing, and making the most out of your gear without breaking the bank. All right, close the Sweetwater and the Amazon screens. Before we start throwing money around, let's talk essentials first. Now, a proper home studio needs just 4 things: a recording device, a microphone, a way to listen back to whatever you've recorded, and a computer. That's it. Everything else, it's nice to have, but it's not necessary. Now, a quick note about the cost that's involved here. This budget does not include a computer because most people already have one that's perfectly capable of making music. Unless you're running 100 tracks loaded with heavy plugins, even an older laptop can work just fine with the right settings. With that said, let's break down the best gear that you can get for under $300. So first up, let's talk about your recording device or your audio interface, or even your USB microphone if you wanted to cut that out altogether. If you're just singing songs, maybe to backing tracks, say you're a rapper who is rapping over top of a 2-track, then you honestly only need a USB mic. You don't even necessarily need an audio interface. However, if you're serious about this, I would definitely encourage you to get an audio interface, at least for upgrade later, because as you get farther into this, you're going to want to get better microphones and better gear that you're going to need the audio interface for afterwards. Now, some people are going to tell you that a USB mic is beginner only, but the reality is a high-quality USB mic can outperform a bad interface with a cheap XLR mic any day. So for some good budget audio interfaces that are out there, the Behringer UMC-22 is $60 as of the last time I checked, and or a solid USB mic like the Samson Q2U for $70. Now these are both viable options. Regardless of what the gear snobs say online, they will get you from point A to point B very nicely. Now, another good USB microphone that's a little bit more on the expensive side is the Blue Yeti. Now, let's say that you went the route of getting an audio interface and you want to upgrade to a little bit better microphone, yet again without breaking the bank. If you're recording in an untreated space, a dynamic mic like the Shure SM57, it's usually around $99. You can get them used for a little bit cheaper, is definitely a better choice than a cheap condenser that picks up every single noise in your house. Now, after you've recorded something, the third thing we talked about needing was a monitoring setup, whether that be headphones or speakers. Now, this is not popular opinion, but I've been doing this for years and it works. Forget budget studio monitors. For under $100, you're better off getting quality headphones like the Audio Technicas that I use here in my studio. Mixing in headphones is a viable option, especially with the plugins that allow you to tune those headphones to make it sound like you're in different rooms. For instance, the Sound Reference ID. So rather than spending thousands of dollars on treating a room that you may or may not even own, it would be best if you would just start on headphones and get used to how mixing actually works first, and then step outside of those later if needed. Truth be told, there are many Grammy-winning and well-known mix engineers out there that are still mixing on headphones with good results, and you can too. And the fourth thing we talked about is a computer or a laptop that would be able to host the audio editing software that you might need. Now, if you have a computer made in the last 5 to 7 years, there's a good chance that it can handle almost all music production just fine. You don't need a top-of-the-line MacBook or a custom-built PC. Just optimize what you already have by tweaking your buffer sizes and disabling unnecessary background apps. But if you're in the market for a budget-friendly upgrade, something like a used Mac Mini or a basic Windows laptop with at least 8 gigabytes of RAM will get the job done. Okay, let's cover some common mistakes to avoid when putting together your home studio. Buying more than you need. This is probably the number one biggest mistake, and that is thinking that you need a ton of plugins and fancy cables and $200 mic stands, and the fact is, you don't. Also, even a good computer can struggle if you're running 50 Chrome tabs in the background, so learn basic system tweaks to keep things running smoothly. Also, I would say that some budget gear is great and some is straight up trash, so stick to brands with real reviews and a reputation for reliability. Drop a comment below and let me know what gear you would pick within this budget. If you want more breakdowns just like this, hit the like button and subscribe because I've got more on the way. And of course, there are links in the description of this video that will take you to some very budget-friendly and affordable options if you want to build your home studio out that will not break the bank, but are all items that I have used, tested, and tried, and know for a fact that they work and they work well. Okay, that's it for today, but remember, we can dream alone, we can even create alone, but together, we can achieve so much more.